important conversation with one that has redefined the media space. Now, when you talk about this person, you talk about how impactful he has been in the world of media. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure. Let's welcome Chude Jideonwo. Chude, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. How has it been like for you? How challenging, and I know it's been challenging, telling all the stories that are really changing, you know, the world.
Yeah. So the challenge has been in finding the resources to tell these stories. I talk about with Chude, for instance, and I say with Chude, at some point, stop talking to advertisers, because when they would come in, they would say, oh, change this, change that. And I'd be like, no, but that's what the audience loves. That's what the audience wants. And so to do the work that I have to do, I have to know ahead of time that some advertisers may be uncomfortable putting advertising behind a story where a woman is talking about sexual abuse. Do you understand? Or divorce. And then to do it still, trusting that even if they don't get it before, they will get it after the story is out. So that's the number one challenge. But it has been easier because Nigerians have supported and Africans have supported the show. So that makes it easier to keep taking the risk.
But in terms of storytelling, I just love what you spoke about now. It shows that even, you know, you have the tenacity that even if I will not get advertisers, I'll still go ahead and tell my story. And not everybody will think like this. But for that, how have you been able to navigate it and also fund the show?
Well, one key way is my subscribers. You know, which today is hosted on with Chude.com, which is the only show of its type that people pay for. People pay $5 to $8 a month to access the content. And Nigerians and Africans, we get from Nigeria, we get from Ghana, we get from Kenya, we get from South Africa, we get from Nigerians in the diaspora, in the UK, Germany, the US, and Canada. So our subscription revenue has been key. Without my subscribers, this show would have died since.
Wow.
So I tell them, when I see my subscribers on the roads, on the streets, in the airports, and they say, oh, I subscribe $5, and they think it's a small thing. I tell them it's not a small thing. It's not a small thing. Thank you for subscribing. It's because of them. So sometimes a piece, well, we call it content now, a show, an episode will be very cost intensive. But I can do it because I tell my team, I'm like, I believe that the audience will pay for this. So because of that, we can go. We just went to play 2. You know,
I was definitely going to talk about that.
And I'm like, it was deeply expensive, and there was no funding for it. There was no resources. There was no funder, nothing. And we also wanted to make it free for audiences, so we put the full thing on our broadcast partners. But we're like, so how is it? And I'm like, let's trust the audience. Even though it is free, they will believe in it enough to still go and subscribe because they know that. So that has been the thing that has kept us going.
You know, with Chude, there's a lot to talk about. We're still going to speak about this whole plateau issue because sometimes I wonder how you take those bold stories and without fear you get to do them. But let's still focus a bit on with Chude. You have made people so comfortable talking to you. You know, you can come to Chude saying, I'm not going to tell my life problems, but once the interview starts, I'll see you crying and just saying it. You have made people really trust you, and that is not something you get, you know, over 1 day or 2 days. It's something that you have built. How were you able to build that kind of credible platform? You have interviewed almost all the top personalities in not just Nigeria but Africa. How were you able to get people to believe you and share their stories with you?
There was no. I think that the thing is that I deeply, 2 things. One, I deeply believe in what I'm doing. I'm not just. I mean, a few people who I interviewed at the beginning of the show before it became popular, who knew my work, because I've been doing this for a long time, know that I didn't come into this because I was trying to make money. I didn't come into this because I was looking for fame. So they knew that I deeply wanted to tell these stories. So I think that was the first thing. That's what made people trust me. You know, I remember when I did the Omotla interview, and she talked about for the first time about how, you know, she almost sold her body to take care of her family after her dad passed. And that time Omotla wasn't doing interviews. She was going through she was rebranding. But because I've known Omotla for over 20 years, she trusted me. You know, so that's what happened then. So, but I think eventually when the larger public, so I was interviewing, and this lady is a young lady that was on Big Brother, Doyin. And she said to me that before she went on Big Brother, I was the only show she used to watch. And she used to wonder, how does this guy get people to talk? So when she came out of Big Brother, it was easy to get her on my show because she had trusted. So I think the singular thing is trust. Whether it's people who knew me before, people who watched the show, they trusted. And I'm grateful for that. But the second thing is that I am not just an interviewer on the show. I'm a participant.
You share with their stories.
Exactly. I resonate. I feel deeply. I cry with them on the show. There's a promo that we just put up, I think. And, you know, I just thought, I've cried a lot. So I mean, our first episode in this new year, I said I didn't want to cry on the show, but it was so powerful. I was crying, she was crying, I was consoling. So I'm not just an interviewer. I am
You're part of the story. Wow. When we come back, we're going to talk about the bold stories that Chude has told. Without fear, he's gone out to tell us the truth, really. We'll take a quick break. You're still watching TVC, and we've been talking to the legend himself, the legend of talk, like I love to call him. But Chude, I want to talk about this one particularly, the one you went to do in Plateau. Because in an era where we speak about insecurity in Nigeria, oftentimes people want to tell stories, but they're scared. If I'm going on the road to tell a story, am I sure I'll even get there safe? But this is you, with everything happening, still making sure you went there. I want to ask you, first of all, where do you get this confidence from? Where do you get this courage from, you know, to just go out and tell these kind of stories?
I don't think it's courage.
So you are scared sometimes while doing it?
I'm scared. I was scared in play too. I remember sitting down with the guys, because we're sitting down in a bush. And this is where the mass grave site was. And you know how it is, because I've worked in this conflict zone. When you are there, words can spread quickly. So if 3 SUVs drive in here, nobody cares. But if an SUV drives into a village in Kebbi or Benue, it goes round. Security forces know, you know, other actors know. So I know that once I've entered into those villages, the people that need to know that I'm around. Then they were sitting down there talking to these guys, and they started telling me that, you know, that I'm like, how do they attack the village? They say they can just come at any time. Like how we're here now, they can just come. So I'm like, so as I'm here now, they can just come. They say yes, and they say you cannot be here after 6 o'clock.
Wow.
And I'm going back, and it took me about 2 hours to get to that village. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking, Chude, who sent you on this? Who sent you on this? That's how panicked I was, and it was not fake fear; it was real fear. And it happens all the time, because most of the time when you're doing these trips, I'm doing road trips. I'm doing 3-hour, 4-hour road trips. So there's almost always fear.
I want us to, you know, be really honest with this one. Tell me, what keeps you going, even with these fears?
It's the sense of mission. I want to tell the stories. This is what I was put in this world to do. And, you know, sometimes when I talk to celebrities, people don't understand that sometimes people think that I consider the celebrity work as important as the social issue work. Because both of them require a sense of mission. This is my mission. This is my mission. My mission is to tell the stories, especially from the angles that we don't often tell. So I'm so driven by that it overcomes the fear. Do you understand? And I always ask myself before doing something, I'm like, one day I asked myself doing this, I said, what if I was shot in this space? And I'm like, I would be happy that I did the work.
But for you, what has been the most, and not just impactful, but the most scary story that you have told? I know you've told quite a number of stories, even the one of the police officer that you went out and did that investigation. But what has been the one that you say has been life-threatening, that you were like, Chude, I've made a mistake. Why did I do this particular story?
I think the Diazani story, documentary. I don't like talking about the threats that I receive because it is what it is. But that was dangerous on so many levels. We're talking about so many players in this story. We're interviewing, and the worst part of it is that because I'm a media person, I know how to make, if I choose to, I know how to make noise about the work I'm doing. But when I was investigating this Diazani story, I was talking to so many important players whose lives were going to be affected by this documentary. People with millions of dollars. Some of them who are on exile, including Diazani, who knew I was doing this story before the public knows. So if something had happened before the public story was released, nobody would know why. And then I began to receive all kinds of interesting phone calls. You know, I didn't share this in public. You know, somebody came to me at an airport and directly sent me a message, allegedly, from Madame. Allegedly, because people say all kinds of things. And so there was a lot, I was after I announced it. So there was a lot of direct and indirect threats on that story. And so I think that was when it became real to me. I'm like, oh, we're not playing. This is what I'm not playing. But I'd already been prepared for that. I had already been prepared for that. And I already put the documentary in all kinds of locations. I put hard drives in all kinds of locations. I'm like, if anything happens to me, people release it. They won't use it as the publicity for the documentary. So for me, I think the Diazani story, and even the risk after, the legal risk, huge legal risk, a judgment without having me put in a defense,
Okay.
So that's that, and it's a continuing risk. You know, that particular
exactly, because people have not forgotten about it. But Chude, have you gotten to any point where, you know, money has been brought to you? I know you're very
the business I would be doing. The business I would be doing.
I like this. Yes, just drop it there.
Yes. So
I like this. Yes, just drop it there.
Yes. So because of that, I don't want to be poor. The choice is I'm not going to be poor anything. I don't want to be poor. The choice is I'm not going to be poor anything. But I got to the stage in my life where I said no to 2 offers to join the government. No to 2 offers to join the government.
Yeah. Chude, you've told quite a number of stories, but I need to speak to you. Chude, you've told quite a number of stories, but I need to speak to you on this one. On a personal level, you're someone that people will say they do not understand. You know, you're someone that people will say they do not understand. You know, people will tell me they don't understand Chude.
So I always joke to people, I say they don't ask the opposite question. They don't ask, why are you married?
Because it's in the Bible. God said we should come together and multiply.
Yes, but also in the Bible, I like talking about the Bible. I tell people that the most significant Bible figures in the New Testament were all unmarried. John the Baptist. That's break. There is no scar. I'm not afraid of women. I'm not waiting for the right person. It's not because because I'm successful now, so I cannot find people. No, none of that's a bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just am not.
Yeah.
And it is a valid way to exist.
All right, please pass the book to me. Before we go into and they're depressed. And you never know. They are the most happiest, but when they go to their rooms alone, they are really sad. Somebody like you, we would not wonder that Chude almost committed suicide. Take me through this journey.
I was at the height of I just finished doing the Buhari campaign. I was doing the Ghana campaign. We were about to start the Senegal campaign. I was CEO of Red Media. Red Media was a PR agency to 3 of the top banks in the country. So my life was supposed to be good, but I wasn't happy. 3 things were happening. First, we went through a financial crisis. I was also going through some health crisis. I also had some relationship crisis. I talk about the story in the first 3 chapters of the book. So it's as if everything in my life was
coming together.
So even though externally my brand looked great, you know, and I still had money, but you know, I always say I wasn't enjoying my life. And when I looked to the future, it didn't look bright. And usually when people take their lives, that's what happens. When they look at the future, people can survive difficulty today if they think they will be better tomorrow.
True.
Which is why Nigerians are happier than many people in the world. But even if we are suffering, we think that it go better. So, but in this case, once you stop believing that it go better,
there's a problem.
Then there's a big problem. So that's what happened with me in 2016. I looked into the future and I didn't see it getting better, and I panicked and my mind collapsed.
Wow.
And that's what I describe depression as. Your mind collapses.
And then you thought to kill yourself.
Yeah,
I know that it was by a bridge.
Yes, it was a thought. I tell the story in the book, so it was on the Eco Bridge. So something had happened. I'd heard some bad news.
What news was that?
So what happened, that the company was going through a financial crisis. And the head of moms, and when I left Fela's house and got into the car, my friend said, "This is the happiest I've seen you in the past few months." That's when the depression lifted. It was once I knew that the suffering had a purpose, everything changed.
Amazing. And for you, that's someone that has suffered depression, what are some of the things you're going to do for people that are still facing it as at now? I tell you, day in, day out, because of the kind of show that I do, I still get a lot of DMs from people that are really depressed, people that they will say Nigeria has happened to them, people that have lost loved ones, people that just think that it's over, nothing can be better for me in life. Do you think this book will be that hope for them?
Absolutely. That's the only reason I wrote this book. Because we have a depression and unhappiness crisis across the world. And it's going to get worse. And societies like ours, people talk a lot about their mental health, but they don't take care of their mental health. They're ashamed to go to therapists, they don't want to share with their friends, they want to present a happy image. And most of the times, the books, the resources that are available are targeted at people in Europe and North America.
Not Africa.
Not Africa. And there's no story that I know of a prominent figure in our continent that has spoken this openly about dealing with this or anything like this. So that is why I wrote the book. So that.
Do you think this book will be that hope for them?
Absolutely. That's the only reason I wrote this book. If you are too ashamed to go to a therapist, at least you can read the story.
The book,
and I share the way that I recovered from it. So you can.
Without a therapist?
Without it. I had therapy. But I later learned how I could have handled this without therapy. But this book, I share practical, and I give you the evidence from science, from religion, from my Christian faith, from psychology, self-help tools that can help you recover from depression.
Chude, before we wrap up with this interview, I just want to ask you some really, I don't want to say tough questions, but if you were to take yourself back to when you were little, what are some of the mistakes you think that you would not make again?
I wouldn't overwork myself. And people often say it is because, oh, I'm now successful. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
When I go back, I should have trusted. So, you know, I write in my book, I got diagnosed of high blood pressure at the age of 18. Look, if I was working in the civil service, I'd be retired by now. I've worked for 25 years. I started working in the NTA. And so if I go back, I should have known that it wasn't the overwork that led to this success.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm not saying don't work. There's a part in the Bible, I think the book of Ecclesiastes, where it says, do not overwork yourself for money. For your own sake, cease. I tell people it's not the work that is the problem, it's the overwork, the fear that makes me do more than I should have trusted my talent, I should have trusted my skill, I should have trusted my learning. So it was that led to the sicknesses. So that's the number one thing. I can share other things. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but that is the number one.
Chude, a lot of people say that journalists are poor. Is it true?
They are not wrong now.
We are poor?
No, we are not poor.
Okay.
The journalists are not paid as well as they should be paid. Yeah, the entire industry undervalues journalists. People say, why is there no investigative journalism? Like the one that died, did you contribute for his family?
Exactly.
You know?
True.
So we need to, and that's one of the reasons why I'm proud of TVC, for instance. TVC, for instance, just even when you walk into the place of work, you just feel like you're working in a world-class space.
Exactly.
All those things are not often done for journalists. We are not paid, and I've been in this industry. I tell people that I'm being owed by 3 platforms that I worked for. You know, I don't like to call them, well, sometimes I call them, but I won't call them here. I was owed salaries in 3 media platforms. You know, we are owed salaries, we are underpaid. So it is a problem. Not all journalists are poor, they are always the other way.
But when we say the rich ones, we say now that they are doing bribery and corruption.
Well, that's the problem. But unfortunately, that is because some do. But some do in every industry.
True.
It's just because journalism is prominent. So that is true. Some journalists do corruption and bribery. And I try to decide what my values are by living them in my own life. I don't judge others because when a society has collapsed, it's unfair to expect high standards from people who are surviving that system. So what I do in my own life is that I build systems that insulates me from making terrible choices. I'm speaking a lot of English so I don't accuse people. But you get what I mean?
I get what you
mean.
So
I do in my own life. I say, how will I ensure that I don't do bribery and corruption? When I see others, I empathize. Because we do important work. And we don't often get the commensurate.
I just want you to look straight into your camera and just, you know, words for young people that want to be journalists, young people that have lost hope, that, you know, you see a journalist almost 60 years, he has not made anything, he has not done any life savings, but they still want to go into the job. What are some of the things that you look up to?
So young people in particular, if you want to be a journalist now, you can actually make money. You can actually build your brand. You can actually build your audience directly. You know, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Substack, whether it's Facebook, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Beehive, whether it's Seller, you know, David Hundenyi, for instance, has built a global brand just by a Substack page and his Twitter handle. You know, I have built this global brand by just Vimeo and YouTube. So overtaking is now allowed. If you want to be a journalist, if you want to be a creator, you can build your own system, build your own reputation, build your own money without submitting to the gatekeepers that used to make it difficult in the first. It's a fantastic time to be a storyteller. Don't sleep on it.
Don't sleep on it. Thank you so much, Chude. This has been a very fantastic conversation. I have learned a whole lot.
It's always a delight talking to you.
Always a delight.
Wait, you know, we are doing this and it's in the same month.
I know, right? It's the same month.
It's the same month.
But let me say something. I think everyone should go out and get this book. For me, that is a person that have suffered depression in one way or the other. It's very important that we now have something that we can use as a guide. A lot of people will say therapists will take all your money. They're just talking to you and taking your money. But this one, you buy the book and you get to read it, and I'm sure it will help you in different levels. Thank you so much. And make sure you get the book, How Depression Saved My Life. Whatever situation that you are in, it can always come out for good. What a fantastic conversation. We always give you in-depth conversations right here at TVC. Thanks so much for watching us. Till I see you again on the